Now, from WCIA3 News.
The mask debate takes a turn. How business owners are encouraging unvaccinated people to cover their faces. And addressing gun violence across central Illinois, which groups are hoping to curb crime in your community? And a new winner is announced in the 2018 race for Macon County Sheriff when the current leader is stepping down.
You're watching your local news leader. This is WCIA3 News at 10.
Stay open and keep everybody safe.
And that means some restaurants and other business owners are requiring customers to mask up before they walk inside. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm McLeod Hageman. Even as those businesses are asking people to wear masks, the CDC says it's safe for those who are vaccinated to go without. Meantime, mask mandates are starting to lift. WCIA3's Bryce Beeman caught up with a few business owners tonight, and she explains how restaurants are actually checking to see if you're vaccinated. Bryce.
Champaign-Urbana Public Health District says restaurants and businesses can check for proof of vaccinations. And one restaurant in Champaign was doing just that, but are starting to transition to an honor system. As more people become vaccinated, we're seeing less masks.
Well, if you are fully vaccinated and you don't have, serious underlying health conditions, then it is relatively safe to not wear a mask.
Both the CDC and the Champaign-Urbana Public Health District say it's safe, but some places are still taking precautions.
But we're just doing the best we can to help stay open and get through this so that the state can hopefully reopen and get back to as much as normal as possible.
Papa Del's in Champaign is asking non-vaccinated people to wear a mask upon entry.
Right now we're doing exactly what we're told to by the CDC and Health Department.
Andrea Seaton is the general manager at Papa Del's. She said she even gave the option to go maskless to her vaccinated staff members.
Now, it's there. We've kind of said if you're vaccinated, it's your choice. Not a single employee has chosen to not wear a mask.
She said a lot of her employees have family members who may not be vaccinated, so they wanted to be on the safe side.
We are face-to-face with the public every day, so it does put you at a higher risk.
But a big question people are asking, can restaurants and businesses ask for proof of vaccination? CUPHD says yes.
Businesses can specifically ask, if you are vaccinated or not.
Early on, we were saying, with proof. Now I think they said 50% of the state is vaccinated, so I have to assume half of the people coming through the door are not.
Now they and other places have started to transition to not asking as more people get vaccinated.
I know it's an honor system right now that most businesses are utilizing.
But Papa Del's just hopes we slowly return to normal.
For moving forward, we don't think that that's going to be necessary if the state does open up and more people are vaccinated.
CUPHD says proof of vaccination is not a HIPAA violation. Mac?
All right, Bryce, thanks so much. Today, here's a look at our coronavirus numbers. More than 626 new cases were announced. 15 more people have died, and the positivity rate continues to drop. It's now sitting at 1.6%. More than 53,000 people were vaccinated yesterday, and 67% of Illinois adults have had at least one dose so far, while 51% of adults are now fully vaccinated. And health professionals are encouraging parents to get their kids vaccinated against the virus. The rates of teenage hospitalizations because of COVID-19 has increased from March to April. From January to March, 204 were hospitalized, but there have been no deaths so far. The Champaign Public Health Department says all of their COVID-19 hospitalizations are in fact adults. In Vermilion County, they're not noticing an increase either. And several people gathered to honor victims of violence. Champaign and Urbana mayors declared June 4th as National Gun Violence Awareness Day. Now, the Moms Demand Action Group hosted an event to remember and honor gun violence victims and survivors. Dozens of people came to Douglas Park to show support. Several people spoke, including one woman who recently lost her son.
It means a lot because I never thought I would be in this situation to have to fight for gun violence because one took my son's life. So it really means a lot.
And she says she hopes no parent has to deal with anything quite like this. From central Illinois streets to across the nation, Senator Dick Durbin spoke with reporters today about the steps he wants to see Congress take to curb gun violence across the United States. He wants to see more background checks before guns are purchased and says no one with a felony or history of significant mental illness should be allowed to own a gun. He also said that President Biden is using his executive powers to try and curb the sale of guns illegally online. Now for a follow-up on the Macon County Sheriff's race after nearly 3 years of court battles. Current Sheriff Tony Brown says he's retiring at the very end of this month. Now, a judge's ruling this past week has Jim Root winning the position by 16 votes. Brown originally won it by 1 vote. That was back in 2018, and by more votes after a recount just last July. Brown says he'll do everything he can to help Root have a smooth transition and will continue to serve the community in other ways.
I have dedicated my life to helping individuals throughout the entire Macon County community and will continue to do so until my dying breath, no matter what platform I have.
And Sheriff Brown's last day will be June 28th. Decatur firefighters are investigating a suspicious fire near Edward and King Streets at this point. Firefighters say the house was vacant, the power and gas were actually disconnected, and nobody was hurt there. And a garage was destroyed after a fire tonight near Muhammad. This was west of Spring Lake off 2150 North at this point, and crews were called around 7:30. We are working to learn whether anybody was hurt there and how that fire started in the first place. Champaign County board meetings may not be appropriate for the kiddos after their online meetings were actually slapped with a warning from YouTube. Champaign County Executive Darlene Kleppel says she got a message from the clerk's office after the last meeting. The problem, the language used at the meetings was actually kind of poor. She says that she's hoping they can be more peaceful in the future.
I would hope that the board members would not like the publicity about this and would sort of change their behavior. That would be a goal, I would think. It's embarrassing. I mean, I think it's embarrassing for them to have that kind of a comment made that they can't conduct business in a civil way.
The board does have a code of ethics. Kleppel says the county board has talked about those standards a few times, and she's hoping they're going to be followed. Well, we finally have an update to the state's redistricting maps. Governor Pritzker officially signed them into law, but now lawmakers are bracing for a court battle. The governor approved the maps for the state house and senate districts, including the new judicial districts in the state, but the state still needs to draw new maps for Congress. He said the maps represent minority communities in a way that falls in line with the Voting Rights Act. Lawmakers are expecting a series of legal challenges. The Senate Minority Leader said they will take the weekend to figure out the Republicans' next step. Well, many events are returning after they were canceled last year because of the pandemic. Plus, it's one of the biggest fireworks show across central Illinois where you can watch it and what to expect. But first, tell us more about this awesome weekend that we're expecting.
Yeah, it's going to be warm. There'll be some sunshine on Saturday, but we may get some Mother Nature fireworks, maybe as early as Sunday. I think the better chance is going to come next week with rain and storms. So for the weekend here, it's warm. The moisture is increasing. We may get a few of those storms.